Welcome everyone to today's explainer. Look, if you're a coach, a manager, or a leader working in people development, you already know that the right conversation at the exact right moment can completely transform an outcome. But the real question is, how do we actually get there? Well, today we are diving into a really fantastic, highly practical framework from Clements' book, 30 Coaching Tools and Approaches That Actually Work. We're zooming in on chapter 3, which is all about the stable model for building rapport and trust. So let's start with a massive, very real hurdle we've all faced in the workplace. How do you actually help someone move forward when they won't even open up? Think about it for a second. You could have the absolute best advice, the perfect strategy, literally the most insightful feedback in the world. But if the person sitting across from you is closed off, defensive, or guarded, that brilliant advice is just going to bounce right off them. If bad rapport is in the room, it absolutely ruins even the best coaching. And honestly, the symptoms are pretty easy to spot, right? When we jump straight into problem-solving mode without establishing a real connection first, what happens? We end up with unclear dialogue, we see a total lack of confidence from our team members, we trigger defensive reactions, low trust, and ultimately we just get stuck thinking. The reality is, before we can coach or manage effectively, we absolutely have to lay the groundwork and establish a safe environment. Let's start breaking this down with section 1. The foundation of trust. There's a core truth about human nature we really need to understand here. At the very beginning of any conversation, people aren't assessing your agenda, they're assessing you. Subconsciously, they're scanning the room for safety, asking themselves things like, can I actually trust this person? Are they really listening to me? Will they judge me if I'm totally honest? If the invisible answer to those questions is no, well, the conversation is basically over before it even starts. So how do we fix that? Let's get into section 2, unpacking the stable model. Okay, here is the stable model itself. Now, the word stable is incredibly intentional here. It implies something grounded, safe, steady, and secure. For coaching to actually work, the person needs to feel like the conversation is standing on solid ground. Stable is an acronym, so let's break it down into its two halves to see exactly how this toolkit works in practice. The first half is STA. S stands for small talk. Now, I know in the corporate world, small talk often gets a bad rap as a waste of time, but actually, it opens the door, it breaks the ice, and signals friendly intent. Next is T for tone. Being highly aware of your tone of voice is just absolutely crucial. A calm, warm, and respectful tone builds trust instantly, and A is for name. Just using a person's name shows respect, grabs their attention, and creates a personal connection that cuts right through all those formal workplace barriers. Alright, moving to the second half, BLE, B is body language. You need to be open, relaxed, and fully present because, as we all know, body language speaks way louder than words ever will. L is light-hearted humor. When used appropriately, a little humor really humanizes the space. It helps people relax, take a breath, and just eases the tension. And finally, E, which stands for empathy. This is simply showing that you genuinely care and truly want to understand their perspective. Now, this right here is the turning point of the whole framework. Clements writes, empathy is at the heart of stable. Without empathy, the rest of the model can become technique, and he hits the nail on the head. Small talk can become totally empty. Your tone can turn into a performance. Using their name might even feel manipulative. Empathy is the engine that makes this entire framework work. It's the proof that you actually care about the human being sitting across from you. Let's make this actionable. Section 3. Applying stable in practice. The beauty of the stable model is that it is not some rigid mechanical script you have to memorize and read off. No, it acts as a really fast internal scan. Think of it as a mental checklist that you as the leader or coach just run through right before the conversation starts, or even during the discussion if you feel the energy shift or tension start to spike. So as you sit down for a one-to-one, just quickly ask yourself these self-reflection questions. Am I creating rapport? Am I helping this person feel safe enough to actually talk to me? Is my current tone of voice helping? Or is it getting in the way because I'm still stressed out from my last meeting? Am I starting in the right place? Or am I rushing them? Doing this quick self-check totally anchors you in the right mindset before you ever deliver a piece of feedback or ask a single coaching question. Of course, we need to talk about what to watch out for. Section 4. Avoiding common pitfalls. There is a very fine line between a genuine application of this model and a manipulative technique. On the left side here, we see authentic, stable. It's driven by empathy, genuine connection, and authentic care. But on the right, without empathy, it degrades into empty small talk, a forced performed tone, and acting out your body language. And let's be real, people are incredibly smart. They can spot a fake a mile away. If you're just going through the motions to manipulate someone into agreeing with you, trust will absolutely plummet. There's also a brief but super vital caveat about the L in stable, light-hearted humor. Look, humor is a fantastic tool to reduce tension, but it must never come at the expense of the actual coaching conversation. We don't want to joke our way out of a meaningful developmental discussion or make light of a serious challenge someone is facing. It's a tool to ease the room, not a way to avoid the hard work. Bringing it all together now. Let's picture a manager sitting down for a standard one-to-one. The start is super vague, the employee is clearly tense, arms crossed, we've all been there. But instead of just plowing forward, the manager pauses. They do a quick spill internal scan. They soften their tone, ask a genuine question about the employee's weekend, uncross their own arms, and use the employee's name. Almost instantly the tension drops. The employee takes a breath. What was shaping up to be a difficult meeting is suddenly transformed into a safe, focused, and truly productive developmental space. So, bringing it back to answer our opening question, how do you help someone move forward when they won't even open up? You do it by remembering this one golden rule. Rapport comes first. Everything else follows you. Help them move forward by first ensuring they feel like they are standing on solid, stable ground. Once they actually feel safe, heard, and respected, they'll open up, they'll take ownership. And that is when the real growth begins. If you found this explainer helpful, I highly recommend digging into the full text. For more information, head over to ClementsConsultancy.com to buy a discounted PDF copy of the book, or head over to Amazon for the ebook or printed version. Thank you so much for joining me today, and hey, before your next difficult one-to-one, ask yourself, are you standing on shaky ground, or are you stable?